Hello and welcome everybody. Today we have a great opportunity to sit with Lou from RV Habit. Lou is one of our trusted advisors, trusted affiliates, and we're very excited to be able to sit down and chat with him today. We're looking at him sharing about some five tips that he has. We have a lot of newbies entering the RV space and the RV community. And, Lou, being one of our trusted affiliates, really tries to impact the RV community with some knowledgeable information, some good YouTube videos on how to do some maintenance, proactive maintenance, things along those lines. He's gonna be sharing his knowledge with us, so stick around, you won't want to miss it. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down in the comment section, and we'll do our best to get back to you as quick as we can or answer any questions you may have. My name is Jim Hoffman. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at Wholesale Warranties. Lou, thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us today. We really appreciate it. We're excited to be sharing your useful information with our viewers and as they get ready for the road, ahead this summer. How are you doing today?
Good, Jim. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. We're really excited to have you. We were chatting a little bit before we got on, and just how interesting it is for me to watch you be able to put some videos together that are really useful and really, whether you've been RVing for 20 years or 2 days, a lot of the content that you've been putting out there is really just kind of hands-on, step-by-step things that you found useful. And we just, we're really excited that you're taking the time to join us today and share some of that information.
Thanks for having me.
Let's kick it off. We'd love to know more about how you started RVing and experience with rigs. You're very hands-on and knowledgeable. How did you start out in the RV industry?
Well, I come from a camping family, so I started out camping at a very young age in a pop-up camper, which is probably some of the greatest times I remember of my childhood. And after the pop-up normal progression, my parents bought I think it was a 24-foot Terry travel trailer. And this is back in the mid 70s. So this was like, it was unheard of. Your neighbors didn't have it. You were one special person if you had something like that and you didn't have a pop-up or a tent. And I literally fell in love with it. That became my fort as a childhood. I probably took every nut and bolt out of that trailer and put it back together to learn it. It just amazed me that, you could have things that work off a battery and lights and radios and it had its own toilet. It was just something like that. And, then the bug was in me and it traveled into adulthood. And I come from a family where everything is hands-on. I come from type of family where when something breaks, you fix it. You don't take it anywhere. You generally, I grew up learning how to do a brake job on a car, how to change your own oil. It's just I think it's probably more generational than anything.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that you had your fort. You had your fort as a kid as a pop-up, because ironically myself growing up, I think my parents, they still have it today. I think it's either a 68 or a 72 Volkswagen Adventure wagon.
Oh, wow.
A little bit different, but it had a fridge and a sink.
Yeah.
In the restroom. I think we used a coffee can, but you really start to embrace it and kind of enjoy that lifestyle.
Absolutely.
I think you obviously, I agree. I think it is kind of a generational thing, but you're saying very hands-on, very technical things working off of battery. And that's when things were built in a way that, you could get those things accomplished by fixing them.
Yeah. I mean, when you compare that Terry trailer from years ago to things today, there's still a lot that hasn't changed, but there's so much that has changed.
Right.
Everything back then was very manual. You could fix anything because there were no computers, there were no circuit boards, there was nothing. There was a pilot light, everything was very mechanical compared to today where everything runs off a circuit board today, everything. You can't turn on your water heater unless it's a circuit board. And back then, it wasn't like that. Back then, if your water heater didn't work, you know, you had two things: either it wasn't getting gas, or there was a spider in the gas tube. You know,
Yeah.
very, very basic back then.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoy, you know, if I don't understand something, as things come out today, I research it, I learn about it, so I do understand it.
No, and that's a good segue into kind of the desire, you know, what made you want to kind of start your own YouTube channel?
Well, like we were talking, I love RVing. I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love the people that RV, and I love RVs in general. So I spent a lot of time on the forums just to get the bug out of you, you know, something to do, especially in the winter. And you keep seeing the same questions over and over from people who are first-time buyers, or even, you know, this is their third rig, but they still don't understand how it works. And something minor will happen. You'll see it on the forum, and you go, well, that's so easy. That's so basic. He should know that. But they don't know that because no one ever told them. So I decided actually first to start a website and just do small blog articles on how to fix things. But in today's world, that goes hand in hand with YouTube. And my first couple YouTube videos, I would not show my face. I would not go on camera. So I tried a couple videos, and all you saw was me like talking about, I think the first one I ever did was on some Motorola walkie-talkies that people use for camping. And all you see is my hands in the walkie-talkies, because I wouldn't, and it probably took half a dozen videos before I would put my face on the camera. But people learn better. I mean, they just learn better by seeing what you're talking about rather than reading written words.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think the YouTube videos, you know, like we were talking prior to, the YouTube videos that you put out are very hands-on, and they're very, to me, as somebody who's non-mechanical, they're just very informative, because it is kind of a step-by-step, and you don't, you know, speed through anything. Your audience.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I try and come from a point where I'm just an average Joe showing you how I do it, and that because I'm an average Joe, you can do it too. You don't need to be intimidated by it. Most people are intimidated by things they don't know. Once they see it and they know, oh, I can do that.
Yeah. Well, and that brings up a good point, because you know, you shared your first kind of experience with RVing, and I think more so today than ever before, you have a lot of individuals and or a lot of families looking at the trailer, looking at the RV lifestyle, you know, staying couple hours within home, something to that effect, versus traveling by plane, whether it's to a different part of the country or a different country. And so you have a lot of new people coming into that RV space.
Right. So, I mean, you can't, the RV market today is probably the best it's ever been.
Right.
You go to a dealer, they don't even have the unit. Well, you have the COVID now, so there's a little lag in getting new units, but I mean, they're selling them as fast as they get them. More and more people today are joining you. Just in my area, on the East Coast and the Northeast Coast, you cannot get a reservation for a campground now. It's booked solid, you know. So there's more people out there than there is space in the Northeast. You have to go out west before you start getting space to go.
Yeah, well, and it's filling up here too. I mean, we recently went to a national park and it was sold out, and you know, you gotta be proactive if you're gonna get on the road.
Oh, absolutely.
But kind of with your experience and everything that you have, all the newbies, the people that are getting interested in this space, you know, we've heard a lot that they want to go out and kind of find the biggest thing, the flashiest thing. And I'm curious, for somebody that's been in the industry for a while, and talking about your childhood, even, you know, back then with different types of rigs over your time, what is some of the advice you would give to some people who are just entering the space now as a first-time newbie?
Take your time. There are so many options out there, And most people will go, okay, I'm going to an RV show because we want to buy an RV. And they will buy an RV that they fall in love with at an RV show. And 2 months down the road, they'll see one and they'll go, oh, why didn't we look further? We bought it too quick. And most RVers, you will probably sell your first RV in 3 to 4 years after you buy it to either upgrade or change, because you'll say, this doesn't work out for us. We really need an extra bed here, or I don't like these chairs. And it's tough for a newbie because they don't have any experience with any of that. They have no idea. They're just looking, you go into some of these rigs today you walk in them, they are beautiful. They will activate your heart and not your mind. The problem is your heart's doing the talking, not your mind. And that's probably the scariest part for new people.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of our first-time policyholders, whether it be a short-term or a longer term, we find that same thing right around that 2 to 4 year mark, probably average right around 3.
Absolutely.
They're taking their...
And that's not just new RVers. You'll have veteran RVers that change rigs every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
They decide, okay, now I want to do something a little different. And that's fine, but that is the norm. The norm is not to buy a trailer and say, oh, that's going to be mine for 20 years, because typically it will not be. You will not, I don't want to use the word upgrade because it's not always an upgrade, but it may be a different type of trailer. So I've owned trailers, I've owned fifth wheelers, I had a truck camper, I had a seasonal camper. Now I'm in a Class C. So it depends on what you're looking for at the time you're looking for it. And you will move. Your wants and needs will change as time changes. So it is not typical for someone to buy an RV and actually be in that RV for 10, 15 years. It's typical for them to sell it in a few years and move into something different.
I think that's a good point, because we do see that as well, is that it's not necessarily, to your point, they're not always upgrading. A good percentage of our clients are actually looking sometimes for a smaller rig.
Absolutely.
For maneuverability, for parking.
I went from a 33-foot fifth wheeler to a 9-foot sliding truck. Okay, so it depends what you're looking for at the time.
Yeah.
And then I'm in a Class C, which I kind of find is the sweet spot for me.
Yeah. No, and that's it. I think it's important to reiterate, especially for newbies. It's not always the biggest and the best. To your point, you could walk in an RV show, see an immaculate, Class A, yada yada, huge price tag, and you're like, "This is it. I can see ourselves in it."
Oh, absolutely.
But for those first-time buyers, it's not always the biggest and the best. I mean, you gotta, to your point, look at your needs, look at your wants, and make sure you're finding something that you're gonna feel comfortable in, at least for a little bit.
Feel comfortable and be able to afford to maintain it, because a lot of people, like you said, you'll go into a Class C or a Class A and say, "Oh, we can afford the payment on this Class A. This is what I want." And then it comes time to buy tires, and you realize one tire is $600 on that bus. Right. And you're like, "Oh my God, I can't afford that." You can afford the payment, but you can't afford to use it or maintain it. I liken it to first-time boat buyers.
Okay.
You can purchase a boat for literally $150 a month, and you go, "Oh, this is great. We'll be out on the water every day." And then the first thing goes wrong, and it's thousands of dollars to fix it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you say, you know what? I can't afford boating.
Right.
You can afford the boat, but you can't afford boating.
Right.
And not to the extreme, I think boats are, but RVs are the same way. Just don't look at that RV payment. There are other things you need to look at, and maintenance and upkeep is a big part of it.
Oh, and we try to educate, our newbies or anybody in the new to the RV community, where you pay in RV dollars, right? And it's about
right. RV. Somebody once said that to me. An RV dollar is like $10 or $100 to every one regular dollar.
Yeah, we try to say it's about five. Like, hey, if it's $100 on an auto, it's going to be about 500 on an RV. And that's
Yes.
free, but it's an investment. That's for sure.
Yes. And I always say that's why a lot of people should learn how it works, and a lot of stuff they can do by themselves. And not a lot of people, when they buy their first RV, they're thinking of, oh, well, I'm getting a warranty for the first year at the dealer, and you're basically only married to that dealer for a year, because it's not like autos where you can go to any General Motors dealer.
Right.
RV dealers are a little different. They're going to ask you if you bought it from them. They're not going to want to do warranty work for you if you didn't purchase it for them. I'm a big proponent of the mobile RV techs. Those guys are in business to fix RVs. They don't care where you bought it. I always say dealerships are split in two. It's not one dealership. You have the sales dealership and the service dealership. And
Right.
neither of them, they're totally different entities. Your salesman will tell you, oh, we can take care of that. We'll take care of this. And then you call the service department and he says, I can get you in about 3 months. Then you bring your RV there and it sits there for 3 months because they're
Right.
waiting on the part that you could have gotten overnighted from Amazon.
Yeah.
For $15.
Yeah.
And that will ruin, that takes all the fun out of RVing.
It does.
You're not supposed to buy an RV and then have it sit in the shop for 3 months while the season goes by. And you'll just become disheartened with RVing. And it's really not the way it should be. The whole idea is to get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think the two.
And that's not a bash on dealers, because there are some fantastic dealers, but there are also a lot of dealers and too many stories of like what I just said, that, they tell you, oh, your part's in, you drop off your rig, it sits there for three months, and they go, yep, that was the wrong part. We had to reorder it, and it's taking another 3 months to get, and it's so frustrating that a lot of people say, this isn't worth it.
It can be incredibly frustrating. No bashing on, I agree that the dealerships, there's plenty of diamonds out there, but
absolutely. Listen, my last RV that I bought it from what I would consider a diamond dealership. The people, 2 brothers own it. They're fantastic. They're fantastic. But there are a lot of horror stories out there too, unfortunately.
There are. You brought up mobile mechanics. Thankfully, that's one of the things that we make sure that we offer for a handful of reasons. One, to your point about, being able to get back on the road. But then 2, that's typically a 1 or 2, maybe a 3-person operation and outfit. So supporting that small business, getting somebody out there to help you get your rig moving and enjoy your experience is, I think, key. I couldn't agree.
Yeah, the whole idea is to enjoy it. And what's nice, what I always like about mobile RV mechanics is you have a problem, they come and it's fixed.
Right.
Almost always they have the part on the truck, unless it's some abstract thing. They'll order it, they have it in a week, and they'll come and put it back on. But the whole idea is to enjoy RVing, not have it sit at a dealership for 3 months. I mean, you can go online and the stories of people saying, oh, I put it into the dealer for 5 things to get fixed. I waited 3 months. They only fixed 3 of the 5 things, So, like, again, it's not a bash on dealers. I think the service departments in a lot of these dealerships are very overwhelmed, very, very overwhelmed. And I think a lot of that attributes to people don't realize they can do a lot of this stuff themselves. It does not, you don't need to be a technician to do a lot of the basic work on an RV.
No, and I think that's where your channel and your website really play a big role and a big value in this community, is showing them that, hey, there are a lot of things that you can do if you're comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, watch the video. And then if you are, great.
And I always try and say that, this is how I'm doing it. If you're not comfortable with 12-volt wiring, don't do it. Right. Just don't do it. To have somebody do it who is comfortable with it. I don't try and tell people, oh, this is how to do it ABC, and you're I'm going to take your man card away if you can't do it.
Right.
There are even, there's things I would never tackle. I'd say, look, you know what? Even though I know I could do it, I'm not doing that. I'm bringing that to someone, a professional, to do it. I feel more comfortable, professional doing it. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
And what I really enjoy and respect about your channel is, like, just take that example of the 12 volt, right? So you kind of have two buckets, people who are comfortable and people who aren't. But I think where you really provide a value is those people that are kind of in the middle, that are like, yeah, maybe I can. And if they watch the video, then it can put them in one or the other bucket. It doesn't necessarily matter which one. It just helps them get to a decision.
Yes. Because there's some things I've tackled, and I'm like, I'm not really sure if I can do this, but I think I can.
Right.
So I'll research and go, you know what? I'm okay with that. I can do it. Or there are a lot of times I say, I know I can do that, but I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I'm going to hire somebody to do that.
Oh, totally. I mean, but you got to that decision.
Yes.
For the first time buyers, you kind of mentioned it, whether it be with dealers, RV shows, a lot of price and the new kind of some of the new interest in the RV community, that new rig can be a really aggressive number for a lot of people. And so I'm kind of inquiring and hearing what your thoughts and opinions would be on buying a used rig, because you can get some pretty good deals out there on a used one.
Yes. If you're going to buy used and you're not RV savvy, and I only mean that by you've never owned an RV before, you need to be really careful, because there are things that need to be checked. I would highly recommend an RV inspection if you're going to buy used. But it is a great option for people. Some people buy an RV, they don't even know if they like it. They may go out one time and go, oh, this is not for us. So, when you buy an RV, if you're buying new, RVs depreciate. They don't go up in value. So you're buying it for your enjoyment. You're not buying it to make money on it. When you sell it, you're not going to make any money on it. You're going to break even if
right,
you get a good price for it. So used is I bought several used in my lifetime, but that's a great option. But if you're a newbie, and I say that term, if people are watching this that don't have an RV, that's a term of endearment for new RV buyers.
It is
not it's not
a criticism, right?
RVers, we were all newbies at one time, believe us.
Everybody started at one time.
Right.
And yeah,
it's not a derogatory term, but I mean, it's a term of endearment from RVers. And even once you get into it, even the newbies call themselves newbies.
Yeah.
But I would highly recommend getting an RV inspection, even if you don't want to invest the money in a certified inspector, a friend maybe who has RVs, who knows how things work, to make sure everything works. I'd also recommend reaching out to you guys. You guys know you got that year and model rig, that insurance on that's going to cost more, because that 5 years, that company really did not do too well. So that's a good point of reference. There's a lot of factors that go into use. It's a great option, especially for new people, but you have to go into it with both eyes open.
Yeah, and we try to suggest to anybody, like, use us as a consultant. We do have a lot of information, and then we also, to your point, and for those that are new to the RV world, you get a PDI typically if you buy a used one from a dealer, which is a pre-delivery inspection.
Right.
We always say take it one step further. A friend, a private inspector, whomever, because you gotta, if you're going to be investing your time, most importantly, and also your money, have a second set of eyes besides yourself is our recommendation.
Oh, even if you're well versed in RVs, you can go over your RV in a PDI and you get home and you go, I didn't notice that drawer is broken. You know,
Right.
when people go to pick up their, and especially if it's a new RV at a dealership, if it's
Mhm.
used, you tend not to be as rushed if you're buying from a private party. You know,
Right.
you have time to go over it. When you're buying from a dealer, you got to remember these are salespeople. This is what they do for a living. They're good at it.
Hmm.
You'll go, they'll show you, okay, this is this, and this. We checked everything, ready to go.
Right.
And you get home and, you know, the hot water, the heater doesn't work or the air condition doesn't work. You go, they said they checked it. They
Right.
want it. They want you to sign because now once it's yours, and they'll even tell you, oh, if you find anything, just bring it back.
Bring it back.
Again, bring it back. We got to order parts. It's going to be several months. And again, it's not all dealers, but it is unfortunately enough of a percentage of dealers that it seems to be more of the norm today.
Right. And I think where we try to come from as a part of education is very simplistically, like a dealership at the end of the day needs to make money selling RVs and they need to make money on their service. And I respect both of those.
Absolutely.
However, you know, that's where we say, look, we specialize only in warranties. So the
Yes.
dealer will offer one or what have you. If you want a kind of a non-biased opinion, give us a call. We'll run some numbers. But to your point, yeah, once you get sold, because that's their job, and if there's something missed, then you go to a different business entity to get
Right.
things repaired. And so,
And you tell the service guy, well, Joe, my salesman Joe told me you could be. Yep, that's what he said.
I'm sure he did. You know, talking about maintenance, because a lot of your channel, a lot of the videos that I saw having to do with maintenance. What recommendations do you have for people to consistently keep an eye out for as far as maintenance, preventative maintenance?
And the number one killer of all RVs is water. It is the number one killer of RVs, and you have to check those roof seals. I check my roof seals literally every month, and I still had an incident where I checked it, and a month later I had what appeared to be a little stain in my ceiling. I said, "What's that?" I go up, and the sealant was cracked. It's a nature of the beast. Doesn't matter if you have a $10,000 pop-up or you have a $200,000 Class A. They all have water intrusion possibilities. And that is the number one thing to check. If you're going to do anything or learn anything, it's how to seal your roof.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
And I'm sure you see it. I'm sure all the time claims for water damage. Water,
Yeah.
it can literally make the RV worthless.
It can. And we've seen, I mean, obviously our stories and we hear good and bad, thankfully, but
Sure.
Water and wind.
Yes. And they are listen, they are making RVs, the technology's coming out and they're using different products now that repel water and aren't as impervious to damage from water, even if you do get a leak. So that's great. But it is still, even with those products, it is still a major, major problem in RVs. Listen, you have this thing going down the road. You have 10 holes in the roof for vents and everything else. Something is bound to leak if you don't keep an eye on it.
No, and I like that one too, more so than like a change in the oil or something, because it's kind of almost like you're doing a self-care on your own, you know, on your own.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I would encourage. This is something, if you're going to be an RVer, you really need to learn how to do it, because I've heard dealerships charging upward of $1,000 to reseal their roof. Now, that doesn't mean they're ripping all that Dicor on the roof off and redoing it. That means I'm going to check your seals, and if it needs Dicor, I'll put it on there. And that to me is amazing. I mean, if I did 2 of those a day, I'd be a millionaire. And this is something not only you can learn to do, it's something that really does not take a long time. I mean, I check mine every month. It takes me, I don't know, 10 minutes to go up on the roof and check the seals. And if it needs a little repair, I do it. And again, that's another 10 minutes. It doesn't take them a lot of time.
Yeah. Um, you know, I think you've obviously put a lot of work into your RVs. Definitely makes you appreciate it on a different level. You know, do you think learning about the RVs can help people enjoy the RV experience more?
Yes, because there's nothing worse than having a planned 2-week vacation, packing up everybody, your kids, the dog, and you're off to, say, the Grand Canyon, trip of a lifetime, and you get there and the water heater doesn't work. And you're like, oh, our vacation's ruined. But if you know how it works and what the parts are, it may be something so simple and you can fix it and be on your way. Not that, oh, when we get home from our vacation of a lifetime with no hot water now, I'll have to call the dealer. It doesn't have to be like that. And if you know how to do some of the basic things, you'll save more vacations than you'll ruin.
You know, I can almost predict your answer based off the responses you give when they have to do with doing your own maintenance and taking pride. You get a really big smile on your face, which is awesome. But your videos are so educational and thorough. How does it feel to be a big part of the RV community through your channel?
Uh, it's kind of weird. You know, when I first started, I mean, the way YouTube algorithm knows, nobody knows you. Nobody knows you. And as it's progressed, I'm not as many subscribers, but more and more views, which I never knew. Apparently, 99% of YouTube views come from non-subscribers, believe it or not.
Right.
So you have to get in that algorithm, however it works. I don't.
There's a couple of numbers, like maybe a
I try
letter.
to understand it. I don't make videos that are beneficial or to the algorithm. You know, some people,
Right.
it is science. I don't do that. I just put my video out. If you want to watch it, you want to watch it. Hopefully you can find it if you search for it. But as I've done it, I've met more and more people and even more YouTubers. And listen, as the RVing community, they're all great. They're all great. It's a great community. It's until you're an RVer, it's hard to describe. There's a well before my time, but it was made in the 50s, the Long Trailer with Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. And the minute they pull into a campground, they've got 40 people around them trying to help. Oh, what'd you do? Let me help you do this. And that really is, even today in 2020, that is the RV community. You know, if you pull into an RV park and you're having trouble backing in, I can guarantee you there will be 10 RVers there to help you. No, turn it left, turn it right. That's just the type of community is just super helpful, super friendly. You all have something in common, and it really is. Once, you know, for me, but I think once anybody gets into it and starts to meet the people, that RV, they fall in love with it. They fall in love with it.
Yeah, I think speaking for the 20 employees that we have at Wholesale Warranties, we're very fortunate. And even though we only get to put our kind of toe in the water, we get to hear a lot of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I can't tell you how many times we've heard stories of a newer RVer, if you will, going into a campground and having an issue with a step or a slide. And
I guarantee there's somebody there that's going to help you fix it.
Somebody, and it's just, it kind of just makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Like, I just love hearing the stories of how great the RV community is, how open they are, how supportive they are. It's just, it makes it fun to support that community and in our line of work.
It is a great community. And like you just said, it doesn't matter. One guy's like, oh, I got a tool bag. Oh, I got a rope. Oh, I know the guy down there. He's got a big truck. We'll bring it over. You know, they really are like that.
It is.
I mean, it sounds almost unreal, but it really is like that. I've never been anywhere that it's not like that. I've never been to a campground where everybody says hello. And like I said, if something happens, you can guarantee someone in that park is there to help you.
Yeah. And one way or another, the tools will come together. They may not be one resource, but they will be hodgepodge from different places.
I mean, I love it. If someone comes to me and says something's wrong, I go, oh, I got my tool bag. I'll be right there.
So we got time for one last question. It's a big one. You going to be making any more grilling videos?
You know, I literally love to cook. It is a passion of mine. And
Yeah.
I love to make cooking videos. Nobody watches them, but I
No,
love it.
but
And the reason is I have an RV channel. So if I did all cooking videos, it'd be a cooking. And back to that YouTube algorithm,
I
if
was
I
going
do
to say.
if I do a grilling video, well, YouTube doesn't know me as a food channel, so
Right.
I'm buried in a billion videos. So it's
Yeah.
hard to get recommended. But I absolutely love doing them. And when I come
Good.
up with something that is really great, I say I got to film this. You know,
Yeah.
so
Well, we like watching them, so try to continue to make them. The algorithm, it is what it is. But
yeah,
for those listening, trust me, if you type in, you can type in Lou or whatever RV Habit, you'll find them. They're very informative. They're very educational, and I can't stress this enough. They are what I would consider as a non-mechanical person, very simplistic and very comforting. And I'll go back to the analogy that I used earlier, which is sometimes I use the flux capacitor, but I'll use the 12 volt in this scenario. Some people are comfortable, some people are not comfortable, but in the middle you have this section. And I think Lou, that's really where a huge benefit is to so many, because you're going to help people decide one way or the other if they should move forward with whatever repair or task or item that they have.
I appreciate that, because that's exactly what I'm going for. Just like I said, people who are on the fence, I don't know if I can do it. They see it, that's too much for me, or this is perfect, I can do it. And now that I've seen how it's done, I'm going to follow that and be able to do it perfectly.
Yeah, no, and I know the RV community appreciates everything you do. I appreciate you taking some time out today, answering some questions. For those that are listening, don't forget to put a comment or a question for either Wholesale, but more importantly for Lou at RV Habit. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you need anything from us, we're always here. And Lou, again, thank you so much for carving out some time today, and I hope you have some happy and safe travels ahead.
You too, Jim. I want to thank you for having me, and thank Wholesale Warranties. We actually didn't go over too much of that when you're buying a new rig, how to be careful about warranties, but
Yeah,
that's another thing. I strongly be careful of the dealer warranties. Check, call you guys for quotes and how warranties work, because a lot of people buying new RVs, if they're newbies, they'll roll that in there, and all of a sudden you're paying 20 years of interest on a warranty that's only good for 3 years or 4
yeah,
years. So it's if you're buying an RV, used or new, you should reach out to you guys to, at least for some information on what's the best avenue for you.
yeah. We like to pride ourselves that we're educators and we're consultants, and the RV dealer is there to sell.
That's right.
And they're there to service them. So when it comes into a warranty, the only thing we ask is that if you have questions, or if you even want to know the details of the policy that they're offering, call us, because we spend a lot of our time, and a lot of our salespeople are very educated when it comes to what the different types of coverage are, what it does and doesn't cover. And at least if anything else, it kind of goes with the inspection. At least you can get a second set of eyes on the terms and conditions, and we'll give you, our feedback. And at least that will persuade you one way or the other. So
Right. It may make it or break it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just education. That never hurt anybody. So.
It didn't, and it's free education.
And it's free education.
And we've been around for a little over 10 years, and so we've seen the good, like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if we don't educate, and if we don't share that, then we're not helping. And that's why we're here. Very similar to yourself. So, by all means, anytime a warranty comes into a scenario, we'd always appreciate a phone call into us just to pick our brains or get a competitive quote. But really, at the end of the day, we try to consult and educate our clients to help them with a decision one way or the other.
And that's what it's all about.
It is. Well, safe travels, my friend. I wish you well and look forward to talking with you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man.